Don't let the boat get overloaded. Don't worry, lads. I know who's who, and I'll do you justice if I ever reach England. I'm here like Peter Hayward. I'm here like Papillon. Where was Montmartre? I'm stranded in the tropics. And my way home was supposed to be not a rescue from the British Navy, not an escape on a bag of coconuts. It was supposed to be a YouTube following, a online video bonanza, which led to me being a YouTuber. We're here, it's a year later, and nothing has happened. Why? Because I got stuck on one problem last year when I started this and made one video. And I said, I'm going to make another one. I'm the number juggler. I need a challenge that represents switching numbers around, switching things around to find a solution. And I searched online, and as I started this channel, there was a perfect challenge. The challenge of the Rubik's Cube minimal solve for $10,000. This was a year ago. And I thought, I know I'm not going to win this because I've tried entering these things before, and at the website, I've got a lot of trouble with this website, but I can't win, but I can try. I can throw my hat into the ring. The website that this competition is on is known as Kaggle. It's a data science website that hosts competitions where you write code and whoever gets the best code gets the money from the competition. I've only entered once and I'm having trouble with my login right now. I lost an email address, but you can see my one entry. That was years ago, and since then I haven't been together enough to just do get the competition, the code ready to put in the competition. So I hoped last Christmas that I would at least try and solve a Rubik's Cube minimally and win $10,000. So what's involved in that? That's why the channel is delayed. Why are we here a year later with no solution from me? And what actually did happen in that competition? Well, the first thing to say is solving a Rubik's Cube is incredibly difficult, even though it's also been mastered mostly by a bunch of Chinese kids to do in seconds. They're not doing it in the fastest way possible in terms of moves. So that's still an open problem in mathematics, which is fascinating to me, because on the one hand, it's a little toy that people play with. On the other hand, it's an unsolved piece of mathematics. So how could you go about solving that, I asked myself. And how would other people go about solving it? And would AI be involved? So the first thing to ask is, how would I go about solving it? Which I did this myself. As a child, I didn't solve it. My brother solved it and my cousin solved it, and I did not, because I wanted to solve it without looking at a book. In those days, there was no internet. And then I got older and I used some maths and I solved it myself. So how do I solve it? Basically like this. I find one side. You can just do one side with moves that you think of intuitively. After that point, it gets tricky because the other ones are, if you move the other ones, you're going to break your side that you've done. So I had to think a bit, and at that point I changed tactic, where I first of all, after I get that side, I then look for corners. I try and get the corners done. Then I use a process of swaps on the remaining middle pieces that does not disturb the corners. So there's basically 3 steps to my solve: the one side, the corners, and the middle piece swaps. How are these kids doing this? I have no clue, but they talk about it like this.
An easy pair here. You can see it forming here. And then this is the last pair, which is an all else.
I would have to look at some websites and stuff to see what they're doing because I don't know. And then we have the question of the competition. So what happened in the end with the competition? I did not manage to enter, but on various topics that on Kaggle, and a lot of it I didn't understand, just bizarre theories that just terminology, technical things, people saying mathematical concepts I didn't know. So I was pretty worried that at the end I would just A, I would do nothing, and B, I would understand nothing. But finally, when the solution came out, the one person who won wrote a really good solution in understandable English for someone of my level, hopefully your level, that we can look through what he did and see how that came together. And the aim here, the goal, and what I did inside of the time, the 3 weeks from when I discovered this in January, it was the Christmas competition because it's like Rubik's Cube Christmas puzzles. It was going from December through to January 31st. And January 7th, I put out one video. I said when Tom Scott flew off on that helicopter. I said, I'm going to do what he told me to. I'm going to put out one video a week. I'm wearing a red shirt and it will all work out. And I did it in the first week. And the second week, I found this puzzle. And I can show you that what I did for 3 weeks, which is think about how to analyze the steps of a Rubik's Cube. But when you do something in code, it's interesting. People say if you're doing something, to learn something, you have to do it in, you have to, first of all, see someone do it, then do it yourself, and then teach someone else to do it. But I would say, and someone told me actually, see someone do it, learn it yourself, teach someone else to do it, and teach a computer to do it. Once you can do something, whatever, in steps of code, an algorithm, you know every little thing, where when you're solving a Rubik's Cube, you're sort of doing things intuitively that you don't know. And the first thing you do, you pick it up, you see where the squares are, and you know as a human, because you've played with it, that there's this mechanism of the rules. You can't just move them randomly. It's made of cubes, and those cubes slide in a manner. And before you can even slide, think about the 3x3. And this competition had a lot, by the way. We'll go over the competition in a minute, but you have to just think about how to slide the corners. So my entire 3 weeks was spent running code just to slide the corners. And it could take in a view of the cube, not a physical view, you have to type it in. But once it sees that, it will know where the corners are and be able to move them in a legal manner. And that's what I achieved instead of a minimal solve on a 33x33 and 2 other 3-dimensional shapes. That's how good my Kaggle skills are. So you've come to the right place if you want to lose a Kaggle competition. But maybe we can learn something about the mathematics of Rubik's Cube. That's what I really want to understand. Welcome to the Rubik's Cube series, where I failed to win any kind of Rubik's Cube contest or any kind of Kaggle contest. You know what to do.